Steve and Dave use eToro to invest in the financial markets. Steve does research on global investment opportunities. Dave does research on how to become a level 60 wizard. Steve follows the feed for the latest market news. Dave follows the feed for the latest cat videos. Steve has a watch list for promising investments. Dave has a watch list too. So why is Dave just as good an investor as Steve? It's because Dave used eToro's copy trader to automatically replicate Steve's trading activity. Whenever Steve makes a trade, Dave does too.
Yes.
Trade like a Steve with eToro, the world's leading social trading platform.
You are patient. Deep down, you know that success takes time. Just imagine Da Vinci trying to paint the Mona Lisa in a week. Or Bill Gates developing Windows in a month. So, take this approach to the financial markets and join eToro. Get the tools to execute smarter, more informed investment decisions. Build a portfolio to last, one brick at a time. Start now at eToro.com.
All right. Hello. Hi. Kamusta?
Hi, Fitz. I'm doing good. Doing healthy?
Yeah.
Safe naman.
Safe and healthy and secure. No? So, kamusta? Nasaan ka ba ngayon, Jeff?
Right now, I'm in Hong Kong. So, safe naman din dito. I guess it's been quite okay, I guess, since a few months ago now. Nauna kasi kami sa Philippines yung pinaka-height namin was early February, around Chinese New Year, mga ganon. Yeah.
Kaya medyo na ngayon dyan, no? Hindi na kayo naka-lockdown, of course.
Yeah, still parang meron pa ring social distancing measures, pero hindi naman siya yung talagang lockdown na. So businesses are back up running. Pero for example sa mga restaurants, for a time before, parang up to 4 people lang yata, and then you need to have like one table apart, ganun. Tapos yung mga gyms, yung mga bars sarado. Recently lang nagbukas ulit eh. So,
we're actually entering that stage na.
Phase na rin.
Yeah, yung slowly businesses are opening up, no?
Kasi
So,
na rin 2 months na rin no?
Yeah, 2 months na. So hopefully walang second wave na mangyari once natin.
Hopefully.
Yeah. So hello pala sa mga nanonood sa atin ngayon dito sa live stream. Ayan, no. I hope na malinaw yung video at saka yung audio namin. And I hope you can all say hi sa live chat sa mga nanonood sa Facebook at saka sa YouTube para alam namin na okay yung audio natin. No? So, yung episode natin ng Usapang Pera today is, of course, a little bit different. Instead of our usual topics, we actually have a guest. So, kakausapin natin si Jeff from eToro. So, Jeff, say hello to our audience.
Hi everybody. I hope you guys are safe. Sana nakapagtanghali na kayo, hapunan. wag manood ng gutom.
Merienda tayo ngayon. Oo.
So, wag manood ng gutom. So, hi everybody.
Yeah, so as everyone knows, Jeff is the Senior Business Development Associate, no, from eToro. So, can you tell us a little bit more about ano ba exactly yung ginagawa mo sa eToro?
So yes, I will be happy to. So basically, I'm the Senior Business Development Associate for the Philippines for eToro. My roles currently are number 1 as an account manager. So I think kung meron kayong mga eToro accounts, I probably have sent you an emails. I've probably had calls with you with some of you from before. Another one also is I also handle mostly the day-to-day operations ng eToro for the Philippines. So for example, funding, withdrawals, verification, stuff like this. So while hindi ako mismo yung nagpapadala ng pera for withdrawals, essentially it goes through me pag may any issues or anything like that. Aside from this, I'm also responsible for also growing the brand at eToro. So for example, yung mga ads na nakikita nyo sa YouTube, I work with our marketing team to have them launched, yung mga sa Facebook page, stuff like this. So quite a lot, but essentially anything that may mga questions kayo about anything relating with eToro in the Philippines, so it generally goes through me. Yeah.
All right. So mukhang tamang-tama ikaw ang ating guest kasi marami tayong tanong tungkol sa eToro. Of course,
Yeah.
eToro has been a partner ng blog ko. Siguro more than 2 years
More than 2
already.
years, yeah. More than 2 years
oo.
now.
And I've been very vocal about other people na pag tinatanong nila ako na gusto daw nila mag-trade ng mga US stocks, gusto nilang mag-try daw ng mga commodities and yung mga ETF sa ibang bansa.
Yeah.
I immediately tell them na they should check out eToro. And of course, sa mga nanonood, if they don't have an eToro account yet, ayan, meron tayong QR code kasi medyo high-tech tayo. They can scan the QR code and open an account, right? But of course, if ayaw nilang gamitin yung QR code, ayan, they can just go to bit.ly/open eToro 100. Bakit open eToro 100? Kasi by using that link, you will get a free $100,000 practice account, diba? So it's very important if you're not
Testing it
yet
out, yeah, if you're
familiar,
just new.
meron kang $100,000 na play
Pangsuko.
money. Yeah.
Correct.
Sa akin, actually, it's very helpful because kung hindi pa sila familiar sa platform ng eToro, mga ngapa ka pa, mamaya may mali kang mapindot, di ba? Biglang
Correct. Sayang din kung tunay na pera.
Oo, di ba? Biglang maubos yung totoo mong pera. So, mas maganda na you get familiar dun sa platform ng eToro using a practice account. And you can get that by scanning the QR code that will take you to the eToro website where you can open an account, or you can simply type yung bit.ly/open eToro 100 para maka-open na account. Alright? So, let's say hello do sa mga nanonood sa atin. Si Paolo may tanong na kaagad, no? So, mamaya sagutin natin yung mga questions ninyo. Ayan, tapos hello kay Lyra na nasa Dumaguete City. So, hello Romero.
Also,
may
I think
classmate ka daw dito.
Ako,
si Hendrik.
From before, si Hendrik. Hi Hendrik, how are you? Keep safe.
Yan, si Erico sabi okay daw yung audio natin. So yes, buti na lang, no? Kasi MJ, loud and clear daw ang ating audio and video. At si Ground Zero, ano yan, lagi nanonood sa atin si DJ,
nice.
no? Yan. So sa start nitong stream na to, I think you prepared something for our viewers, no? Just for them to get to know eToro, the company itself, no? And so we'll spend the next siguro 10 to 15 minutes getting to know eToro, especially for those na hindi pa familiar with the company, no? Sige. So, are you ready to give your short presentation? Yeah.
So give me a second. Share ko lang yung screen ko.
Yeah. So, hello Marv and hello Hendrik. And
yeah, thank you. You stay safe also. So there, nandiyan na dapat yung screen ko. So this is going to be very short, mainly just an introduction, and towards the end, some FAQs as well. So same as yung question ni Paulo, don't worry, sasagutin natin yan. So yeah,
I'll give the floor to you, Jeff, no? So makinig muna tayo kay Jeff for now. All right? Sige, Jeff.
Okay. So again, as I mentioned, it's going to be mostly an introduction sa eToro. Ano ba talaga yung eToro? What are our values as a company? And also some things na pwede nyong gawin sa eToro mismo. So let me just get started. So whenever I make a presentation about eToro, nagsisimula ako parati sa vision namin as a company. This is something that all of us have to memorize. So part of our initiation kapag bago ka sa eToro, bagong sali ka sa eToro, is to really drill into your head yung vision natin. So it's essentially opening the global markets for everyone to trade and invest in a simple and transparent way. So kung hindi mo siya ma-memorize, di mo kailangan i-memorize. Just 3 things lang ang kailangan mo matandaan dito. Number 1 is keywords natin is everyone. So we want to make it accessible for everybody. And number 2 and number 3 is simple and transparent. So gusto namin na not just for you to be able to trade, but also to be able to trade in a simple and transparent way. Right, so I will keep referencing this as we go along. So tandaan nyo na lang siya. So everyone, simple and transparent. So just a bit about eToro as a company. So today we now have over 11 million plus users. We have users from over 140 countries, Philippines one of them. We've executed 450 million trades already for our clients, and we have over 700 employees. So right now I'm in Hong Kong. Our Hong Kong office is a bit smaller, mostly for Southeast Asia. And then yung bigger office natin for Asia is in Shanghai. And then we have other offices as well. And we have raised over 162 million in capital. So this one is not from the clients. This one is from outside investors, which we'll get to in a little bit. But just to give you guys an idea. So eToro has been around, by the way, since 2007. It's all in our website. Pwede nyo siyang silipin after this as well. So here, as I mentioned, meron tayong a lot of offices na. So the most recent one is this one from the US. As well as in South Africa. So yung US natin, I believe, was about last year lang siya ni-launch. So before kasi we didn't used to accept US clients. Now we do accept US clients. And as we mentioned, I'm part of the China Asia team. We also have one in Australia, UK, Europe, and also Ukraine, and also these other countries. So also just to give everybody a bit of an idea, kasi in terms of brokerage or brokers, medyo may bad rep tayo sometimes. So kumbaga maraming questions about scam ba yung eToro or scam ba itong broker na to, something like this. So for eToro, we're regulated in 3 different countries. We're regulated by SISEC in Cyprus, FCA in the UK, and ASIC in Australia. So in terms of our investors, yung 162 million na pinakita ko sa inyo kanina lang, so ito yung investors natin. Number 1 is Ping An. So kung familiar kayo kay Ping An, si Ping An yung world's largest insurance company. So it beats out Allianz and also AXA, as well as those other insurance companies. So this is a Chinese insurance company. Commerce Ventures yung venture capital arm siya ng Commerce Bank. So Commerce Bank is a major German bank. So similar, I guess, to BDO, Metrobank, parang ganon in Germany. So may venture capital arm sila. The green one over here is Sberbank. So this is a Russian bank naman. We also have Spark Capital. So Spark Capital, another venture capitalist, venture capital firm. BRM Group naman is a private equity firm naman. So there's more aside from this, but these are one of our biggest investors. Just to give everybody a bit of a picture of who are the companies backing eToro ba. Parang ganun. So what comes with this obviously is due diligence as well. So for example, Ping An, the world's largest insurance company, wouldn't just pour money sa eToro kung mawawala rin kami in a few years. Also, before we get started, just to show you guys a bit of fun thing. So again, eToro has been around since 2007. So we're on our 13th year now. So itong 10-year challenge na to, this was a few months back na uso yung 10-year challenge. Ito yung open book natin. So ito itsura niya dati. So for example, you have this user sold this currency pair at this price. You can also see everybody's portfolios, follow somebody, copy somebody. Same as now. So since 10 years ago pa lang, ganun na rin talaga yung ginagawa natin. Pero makita mo yung difference talaga. In how it looks like from before and what it is now. So malaking improvement actually siya. I think 2010 wala pa nga tayong app at that time. I think very few pa lang yung mga may apps nun eh. Halos kakalabas pa lang yata ng iPhone nun. So yes, this is what eToro looks like now. You can try it out in your virtual account as well. Just scan the QR code or just open the link in this page. So, ano ba talaga ang pwede mong gawin sa eToro, right? Number 1 is obviously manual trading. So kung interested ka, the first thing that you should just remember in terms of manual trading is, for example, I'm sure halos lahat sa atin, or I'm sure if you're watching this, then obviously meron kang smartphone, meron kang computer, and these smartphones, these computers na ginagamit mo, they're made by majority big companies. And kung gusto mo mag-invest sa kanila, pwede ka rin mag-invest through eToro. So for example, you can invest in Facebook, Apple, Google, almost everything under the sun, Twitter, ano pa ba, kung gamer ka, Sony, Nintendo, yung gumawa ng I believe Dota as well, so yung gumawa ng mga ibang games na yon, you can also invest in them. So habang nilalaro mo yung games nila, binibili mo yung games nila, pwede ka rin mag-invest dun sa company mismo na gumagawa nun. Number 2 is copy trading. So copy, yung pinakita ni Fitz kanina lang na ad, yung si Trade Like a Steve. So that's essentially what it is. Pwede ka mangopya ng ibang tao. We'll cover it very short in a bit. And lastly is copy portfolios. So kung yung tanong mo is sino ba yung mga kokopyahin ko, ang dami kong pwedeng kopyahin, sino ba yung maganda? Or kung interested ka, for example, in a basket of, let's say, stocks. For example, yung example dito is travel kit. Probably not doing too well because of the coronavirus. Pero for example, kung ikaw yung madalas mag-travel, gusto mong mag-invest sa mga companies na to like airlines, Visa, MasterCard, Disney, for example, yung mga theme parks nila, stuff like this, pwede ka mag-invest in travel kit as well. So this is just very quickly, why should you consider eToro? So number 1 is ease of access. So through eToro, pwede mo siya gamitin sa website, pwede mo siya gamitin sa smartphone app mo. Pag nawalan ka ng internet, nawalan ka ng kuryente, pwede ka pumunta ng computer shop kung bukas na. You can invest in a wide asset range as well. So like what Fitz mentioned, so pwede ka mag-invest in stocks, forex, commodities like oil and gold, ETFs, indices like S&P 500, Dow Jones, yung mga ganito, and even cryptocurrencies as well like Bitcoin, Ethereum. Pwede ka mag-invest doon. We also have leverage. So if ever, leverage is a completely different topic altogether, but if you're familiar with it, we also offer leverage. And obviously, we have our social features, right? So yung pag tinignan mo yung eToro, yung pinakita ko kanina from 10 years ago, even now, meron pa rin tayo nun. eToro is basically a cross between Facebook and your brokerage account. So meron kang wall kumbaga. Meron kang also pwede ka mag-post as well. So kumbaga kung nasa wall mo, instead of mga pictures of your relatives, pictures of your friends, pictures of cats, for example, yung nakita mo doon is pictures of trades. Or pwede ka rin magtanong, right? So normally sa Facebook, pwede ka magtanong, plano ko bumili ng, I don't know, refrigerator, anong okay kaya na brand? Or sa eToro, pwede mo naman ilagay is gusto ko mag-invest, ano kaya okay i-invest ngayon? Something like this, right? Competitive costs as well. So our withdrawal fees are very cheap, just $5. We'll cover it later as well. We also accept local deposits. So pwede ka mag-deposit gamit Philippine peso. It will automatically be converted into USD. And also we do listen. So as I mentioned, I'm an account manager. Our fees have been continually been lowered. We also offer constant updates. So from like 10 years ago, maraming mga updates ang nangyari to get to where we are now as well. What we don't offer though is, again, very transparent kami. Again, simple and transparent way. What we don't offer is option trading. We don't offer penny stocks, yung mga maliliit na companies abroad. Hindi natin sila ino-offer, yung mga bago pa lang. We also don't offer excessive leverage. May leverage tayo pero hindi yung kumbaga sobra na. We don't also offer API connections and algo trading as well. So, as I mentioned, very short lang naman na intro to into eToro. I just want to introduce as well copy trading. Ano pa talaga yung copy trading? So, essentially, pag nag-log in ka, so that's why I suggest, Fitz and I also suggest na gumawa tayo ng virtual account. It's free. May 100,000 ka na demo account. Kung hindi mo nagustuhan, then wala naman mawawala. Kung nagustuhan mo, then you can deposit anytime you like. But when you have your virtual account, pwede ka go to copy people and then copy trading. Marami kang makikitang traders na to. So everybody here na nakita mo dyan, pwede mong kopyahin. Makita mo yung returns nila. So for example, si Olivier Danville, he's made 8% returns in the past year. Yung risk score niya or yung risk niya is also very low. Versus, for example, si Joffrey 2006, 32% yung return niya in the past year, pero mas mataas yung risk niya, 6 compared to 2. So marami yan. You have people with 4, 3 risk. So you can look for your own. So essentially what it is, number 1 is same as the Steve and Dave ad na nakita ninyo kanina. Sa copy trading, pwede ka mangopya ng isang trader, and then whenever he makes a trade, you make the exact same trade. So for example, let's say kinopya mo ko, right? Hindi mo ako makopya kasi employee ako ng eToro, conflict of interest, but let's say you could copy me. So pag kinopya mo ko, bumili let's say ako ng Facebook na stock, then ikaw rin mismo, bibilhin mo rin yung Facebook na stock na yun at the same time and at the same price. So whether for example, tulog ka, or naglalaro ka ng video games, or you're in your work, right? Nagtatrabaho ka, as long as kinokopya mo ko, the moment na bumili ako, bibilhin mo rin siya. Kahit nga hindi ka naka-login automatic na siya basically. The other thing there is hindi mo kailangan i-match yung amount ko. So for example, let's say meron akong $10,000 na ini-invest, right? Ikaw meron ka lang $1,000. So even if magkaiba tayo ng capital, pwede mo pa rin akong kopyahin. Kasi ang kinukuha lang naman namin sa eToro is yung proportion. So if I buy Facebook with 10% of my $10,000, sa'yo naman, bibilhin mo yung Facebook, exact same Facebook trade with 10% of your $1,000. So parang ganun siya. Or you can even have more money than me. If I only have 10,000, meron kang 100,000, then pwede pa rin naman yun. And the important thing also there is hindi lang trades, hindi lang yung Facebook trade mismo yung pwede mong kopyahin, but also how I manage my money. So for example, because of the coronavirus, tingin ko hindi maganda mag-invest muna ngayon. Itatago ko muna yung kalahati ng pera ko in cash, and then yung kalahati naman yung gagamitin kong bang trade. Then on your side, ganun din. Yung kalahati ng in-invest mong pera is nakalagay sa cash, kalahati will be invested in the markets. So risk and money management as well. The other important thing there is that you can stop copy and take your money out anytime. You can freely close your positions as well. So for example, again, dun sa Facebook example natin, bumili ako ng Facebook, binili mo rin. Pero let's say 3 months na, hindi ko pa rin binebenta yung Facebook, kahit umakyat na siya, kumita na siya, ikaw gusto mo nang kunin yung profits mo, then pwede mong i-close yung trade pa rin. So, kumbaga, pwede mong kopyahin yung pagpasok ko, kung palabas, gusto mo magbenta na, it's still up to you. We also have other things part ng copy trading, like for example, copy stop loss. Pwede mong ilagay, for example, kung how much you're willing to lose. Let's say nag-invest ka ng $1,000, nagkopya ka ng $1,000 sa akin. Pwede mong sabihin sa system natin na once na, let's say hindi ako magaling, right? Let's say nalugi ako ng $200, ibalik mo na yung pera ko sa akin, pwede yon. So you can put na sa $1,000 mo, pag nalugi na ng $200, balik mo na yung natirang $800 sa akin. Pwede rin yun sa ating copy trading system. And we also have copy open trades, and you can add and remove funds anytime you want. So these things will come into effect mostly kapag nasubukan mo na siya. That's why I highly suggest na subukan mo. Kasi sa virtual account, pwede ka rin pwede mo rin subukan yung copy trading doon with your virtual money. So if you ever have questions there, feel free to send me an email or send our team an email as well. So this is just an example. So this one I took from a few weeks ago. Finilter ko to by Philippines. May marami tayong filters dito, kaya 75 lang lumabas, but there should be more. But there, yeah. So ito mga Pilipino to. And then you'll see na makita mo yung return nila, yung risk nila, and then you can pick from any of them as well. So something for you to check out. The question there, since mabilis-bilis lang naman to, is how much does it actually cost, right? Kung kumikita ako ng 20%, 20% din kinita mo nga, pero malaki naman yung commissions na kinukuha ni eToro or kinukuha ko, then wala rin siyang silbi, right? So the important thing there is that, and the best thing there is that copy trading is free. So yung service mismo ng pagkopya mo sa akin, libre siya. What that means is, kahit kinokopya mo ko, wala akong kinukuha sa sa profits mo. So let's say kumita, so pinakita natin kanina is this one. So for example, si Lloyd Bazaar, 7.29% yung return niya. Kung kinopya mo siya last year, this year 7.29% return mo, yung 7.29 na yan, sa'yo na yan. So wala siyang kinukuha dyan. The reason for this is because eToro nagbabayad sa popular investors na to. So nanggagaling sa bulsa namin yung binabayad natin sa mga pwede mong kopyahin. Yung main question there is, again, we're very transparent. Saan ba talaga, kumbaga, kung nanggagaling kay eToro yan, paano ba kumikita si eToro, right? So firstly, eToro makes money on spreads. What that means is, kapag bumili ka ng Facebook sa eToro, meron tayong maliit na patong doon sa selling price. Kumbaga, you can think of it as, for example, buy and sell. Pag sinearch mo yung Facebook price sa Google, let's say, kahit i-type mo lang sa Google, Facebook stock price, tapos kinompare mo siya sa stock price ng eToro, makikita mo almost always mas mataas yung sa eToro. Kasi nga may patong tayo doon. Doon kumikita si eToro. And not just eToro, but also almost all brokerages make money through this way. Spreads yung tawag doon. Now you can imagine is kapag let's say meron kang trader na kinokopya with let's say may 10,000 other people na nangokopya sa kanya, the moment na nag-trade siya, si eToro, automatic yung 10,000 na tao doon na nangokopya, automatic na magte-trade din and may kinikita tayo doon. So that's how eToro makes money. We're very transparent about this. And dito rin nanggagaling yung pinambabayad natin sa mga popular investors or yung mga tao na pwede mong kopyahin. Parang ganun. So I've been talking about Popular Investor Program since a while ago. What this program means basically is kung ikaw mismo magaling ka mag-trade or may skill ka sa pagtitrade, alam mong ginagawa mo, let's say may 10 plus years of experience ka na in trading, pwede ka rin pumunta sa eToro at sumali ka ng Popular Investor Program natin para kopyahin ka ng ibang tao. Right? So meron tayong 4 levels right now. So it's Cadet, the lowest level, Rising Star, yellow, Champion is the 3rd level, which is red, Elite is green. So pag nakita mo sa profile ng mga tao, meron siyang star dito. Yun yung ibig sabihin part siya ng Popular Investor Program at yung iba binabayaran natin sila. This is very nice. You will see the synergies here. Kasi, for example, makikita mo dito, something I want to highlight is minimum time in level. So, ang ibig sabihin nito is kung ikaw, sumali ka ng eToro at sumali ka ng Popular Investor Program, tingin mo may skills ka in investing, tingin mo alam mo ginagawa mo sa markets, matagal ka na, may experience ka na, gusto mong kopyahin ka ng ibang tao para kumita ka ng extra, pwede ka nga sumali. But you have to you have to stay in this level for at least 2 months, every single level. So for example, kahit 10 plus years na experience mo, the moment na sumali ka ng Popular Investor Program, kailangan mo magstay in cadet level or the first level for 2 months. And then once na na-promote ka na to Rising Star, kailangan mo magstay there for another 2 months until the end. So ang kagandahan dito is by the time na umabot ka ng Elite, kasi nga tingin mo, alam mo ginagawa mo, magaling ka talaga, magaling kang trader, by the time na umabot ka ng Elite, that means 8 months ka nang sa eToro. That means na-prove mo na sa mga traders sa eToro, sa mga investors sa eToro, na alam mo talaga ginagawa mo. Kasi for example, dito pa lang, let's say sa 2 months pa lang, na kumbaga hindi na-prove na hindi pala maganda performance mo, then wala nang mangopya sa'yo. Diba? Titigil na sila sa pag-copy. So hindi ka na makakaakyat. Right? So that means, pag nakita mo, what that means for you is kung nakita mo yung mga green star na to, confident ka na proven na talaga sila na at least 8 months na silang sa eToro. Kung hindi talaga sila magaling, even before 8 months, hindi naman talaga sila abot sa level na to eh. Hindi na sila kokopya ng mga ibang tao kung hindi naman talaga sila magaling. Right? Another thing also here is yung minimum average equity. So, ibig sabihin nito is itong mga traders na kinokopya mo, let's say ito, si Chinese let's say si itong taong to, so elite level na nga siya, meron siyang at least $20,000 sa kanyang account. Meaning, tinitrade niya sarili niyang pera. Siyempre, ayaw rin naman kasi natin na meron siyang 1,000 plus copiers. So here, at this time, yung kinuha ko to, meron siyang 1,375 copiers. Tapos tinitrade niya lang na pera is $1,000. Siyempre, hindi rin to maganda. Right? Ang laki-laki ang daming taong nangopya sa'yo, tapos $1,000 ang ginagamit mo pang opya, right? Pang trade. So, once you're at this level, at least kailangan 20,000 ang ini-invest mo ng sarili mong pera para at least align din yung interest natin, right? Kinokopya ko tong trader na to, alam niya ginagawa niya, and also, maingat din siya kasi sarili niyang pera, 20,000 ng sarili niyang pera rin ginagamit niya. $20,000 is about ₱1 million pesos, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, this is our Popular Investor Program. Again, if you have questions, you can always ask it later or reach out to us as well. So towards the end, I'd just like to cover very quickly yung mga fees and spreads natin. I think may mga ilang nagtanong na rin naman sa kanya, and after going through this, baka curious din kayo. Right. In terms of trading, so currently Asia accounts trade CFDs. This is a whole different topic altogether, but if you're familiar with it, then yes, CFDs ginagamit natin. eToro does not charge any execution commissions or fees. Ibig sabihin nito is if you're familiar also with trading, almost always yung exchange mismo may fee siya. Marami siyang fees eh. Parang pag tinignan mo yung website ng mga brokers, parang kalahati ng website puro mga fees lang nakalagay doon. Exchange fee, execution fee, commission, stuff like this. So sa eToro, hindi tayo nag-charge ng execution commissions or fees. Ang charge lang natin again is yung spread. May patong lang tayo dun sa selling price kumbaga. Some spreads are variable though and not fixed. But for example, to give you guys an idea, for stocks, it's just 0.09% per site. So kung may $100 kang ininvest, or let's say bibili ka ng Facebook ng $100, then ang patong natin doon is 0.09 US dollars lang. So maliit lang naman. In terms of dividends also, eToro also pays dividends. So for example, let's say nag-invest ka in Facebook, Apple, Google. Si Apple madalas siya si Apple I think consistent yung pag-release niya ng dividends. So whenever Apple releases dividends, then pwede ka rin mag-earn doon if you're buying. If you're selling, obviously you pay dividends. So we also do pay dividends. Of course, we have to less taxes there kasi since nasa US siya, may taxes talaga yung dividends, all of these things. Meron din tayong overnight and weekend fees though. Generally, this is charged when you're using leverage or if you're in a sell position. So for example, if you're just buying, kung bumibili ka lang naman, kumbaga for investing, bumibili ka lang naman and hindi ka naka-leverage, then wala tayong overnight fees doon. So may kita mo naman siya. I don't think I have a screenshot here, pero pwede mo siyang, again, this is why it's important na silipin nyo yung virtual account. May kita mo, before you buy anything, let's say mag-invest ka sa Facebook, before mo siya bilhin, dun sa bandang baba, may nakalagay dun kung how much yung overnight fees, kung meron man. Fees are charged if you hold that position past the trading day. So again, I would recommend that you check the fees before opening the exact trade. So yeah, also yung overnight fees is deducted from your account balance. It might not be too important now. What I would suggest is for you always to check out the market hours and fees as well. Kasi for example, US markets right now, kasi if you trade or if you invest in the local PSE, nagbubukas tayo, I believe it's 8 or 9 a.m. Right now, hindi ko na sure kung anong oras yung nagko-close kasi pinalitan na yata. I think 3 p.m. na lang yata shortened hours. But for example, for the US, it's from 9:30 a.m. up to 9:30 p.m. oras natin in the Philippines, 9:30 p.m. to 4 a.m. the next day. So, kumbaga tulog ka na that time, tsaka lang nagbubukas yung US markets. So, this is always important for you to check out. European markets, for example, 3 p.m. siya nagbubukas to 11 p.m. oras natin. So, you always have to be careful with those. So, those are for fees and spreads. I've seen some questions about deposits. We will cover it as well. So in terms of account verification, as a regulated entity, so again, as I mentioned, regulated tayo by SISEC in Cyprus, FCA in the UK, ASIC in Australia. As required by regulators, kailangan natin mag-verify ng accounts natin. So obviously, since tumatanggap kami ng pera nyo as clients, we have to also follow our KYC and anti-money laundering or AMLA rules as well. So syempre, kailangan din namin alamin kung saan nanggagaling yung pera ninyo. So that's why account verification is important. Normal process takes 1 to 3 working days. But for now, since marami kaming mga clients, we're verifying only funded accounts. But for example, for you as a user, kung virtual account lang naman ang gagamitin mo, even if hindi ka pa verified, pwede mo siyang gamitin. Wala naman limits. So these are just some examples. I won't go too much into it, pero this is a list for you to check out. We need two, so proof of ID and a proof of address. For example, for proof of ID, if you have a passport, kailangan mo na lang ng bank statement, for example, or even passport and driver's license is fine. Yung mga wala dito sa list, unfortunately, hindi natin siya matatanggap. Like for example, PhilHealth ID and some others IDs. Unfortunately, hindi natin siya matatanggap. So yung mga nandito lang. Sorry, this one should be SSS ID. So this is a list. You can always reach out to us if you ever need it, if ever. So I just have some general questions na madalas kong makuha. So just to touch on it a little bit, ano ba yung mga CFDs, right? Gambling ba to? So CFDs are not gambling. So CFDs basically ano siya, contract for difference. Ibig sabihin, ikaw pati yung broker, you agree to pay each other the difference in the asset or stock's price change over time. So mabilis lang naman siya actually intindihin. What that means is kung ako yung customer and then si eToro yung broker ko, ang sinasabi natin is right now, papasok ako in a contract with eToro. Right now, Facebook stock is for example $200. Right? Kapag umakyat yung presyo ng Facebook to 210, then babayaran ako ni eToro nung $10 na difference kasi umakyat eh. Pag bumaba yung presyo ng Facebook to 190, then ako yung magbabayad kay eToro ng $10. Right? So kumbaga kontrata lang naman siya. So those are what CFDs are. To a little bit more technical, it allows you to speculate on the asset without really owning it. So something like this. We can have a separate discussion also about that. Sa eToro kasi kung kapag nagte-trade ka kasi sa local stocks like Jollibee, Ayala, stuff like this in the PSE, ang normal na sinasabi natin na pagbenta is let's say umakyat na yung bumili ka na Jollibee ngayon, umakyat na yung presyo niya, gusto mo na siyang ibenta. In the global markets, iba yung terminology natin doon. So iba kasi yung sell or benta sa close position. So in the global markets, sell means to short sell. Ito yung main difference kasi sa eToro or sa global markets, pwede ka mag-short sell. Ibig sabihin, kapag tingin mong bababa yung presyo ng Facebook, pwede mo siyang i-short sell, tapos pwede kang kumita habang bumabagsak yung presyo. Kasi for example, sa PSE, hindi natin siya pwedeng gawin eh. So for example, ABS-CBN, right? Medyo controversial si ABS-CBN ngayon. We're not gonna talk about it obviously. Pero if tingin mo na bababa yung presyo ng stock ni ABS-CBN, sa PSE hindi ka pwede mag-short sell. Hindi ka makakita doon basically. Pero for example, sa global markets, kung tingin mong bababa yung presyo ng Facebook, then pwede ka mag-short sell tapos kikita ka kahit bumababa yung presyo niya. And then yung pagkakaintindi naman natin normally pagbenta, yun yung tinatawag natin na close position, which means to stop or to exit the trade. Another thing, for example, are ETFs. Ano ba talaga ang ETFs? They are exchange traded funds. They're a little bit similar to mutual funds, pero mas mababa yung fees nila kasi mostly nagtatrack lang naman sila ng index. Hindi sila actively managed, parang gano'n. So again, it might not be too applicable, but those are what ETFs are. So these ones, I won't go too much into it. Basically just market gaps and stop loss. Ang pinaka-importante lang is that it is execution guarantee and not price guarantee. If you're a trader, then you should pay attention to this. If not, then it's fine. You can learn it soon. So here, last two slides na lang ako in terms of depositing and withdrawing. So number one, ano ba yung minimum natin? I think si Louie nagtanong, right? Ano ba yung minimum to deposit? Number one is for the Philippines, it's just $200 or roughly 10,000. This was way back, yung medyo malakas pa yung konti yung peso natin. Medyo mahina yung USD at that time. I think this one should be 10,400 something na ngayon. Pero essentially, it's $200. Right? Can I deposit in my local currency? Yes. So your local currency will be converted to USD. So kung peso yung gamit mo, i-convert lang natin siya into US dollars. Hindi si eToro yung nagko-convert. Kung ano yung ginamit nyo pang bayad, sila yung magko-convert ng pera mo. So what can I use to deposit? So local online banking, firstly, through Dragon Pay. So ito right now yung pinakasikat na method natin, pinakamadalas gamitin ng mga Pilipino is local online banking. So for example, kung meron kang BDO online, BPI online, Metrobank, Union Bank, and others like RCBC, Land Bank, Maybank as well, tinatanggap din natin sila. So, kung may online banking ka, pwede mo siyang gamitin. Dadaan ka nga lang kay Dragon Pay. Also, Visa or MasterCard credit debit card. So, yung ginagamit mo pang ATM, as long as Visa or MasterCard siya, pwede mo rin siyang gamitin. Even GCash MasterCard, kung may GCash ka, tapos meron ka nung prepaid card niya, Mastercard yun pwede mo siyang gamitin. Visa naman kung may Paymaya ka. So, di ba si Paymaya, meron kang virtual card dun sa app pa lang ni Paymaya, may virtual card ka dun. So, normally Visa or Mastercard yun, pwede mo rin yun gamitin pang deposit. Kung meron kang PayPal, Skrill, NetTeller, pwede rin. And lastly, wire transfer. So, kung yung traditional na wire transfer, pupunta ka sa bangko, tapos mag-wire ka to eToro, pwede rin naman yun. Can I use over-the-counter deposits? So unfortunately, hindi natin siya tinatanggap. So hindi ka pwedeng pumunta lang ng teller mo tapos sabihin mo magpapadala ka ng pera kay eToro. Hindi siya gagana kasi kailangan mo dumaan sa online channels. Essentially, ang ibig sabihin kasi niyan is pag let's say pumunta ka ng teller mo, nag-deposit ka, hindi namin ni eToro malalaman kung kanino ba talaga nanggaling tong pera na to. Right? Kaya kailangan mo dumaan sa online channels natin para alam namin kung ginamit mo yung Visa, Mastercard mo, alam namin na nanggaling talaga siya sa sarili mong account. Something like this. Is depositing safe and secure? Yes. So even if online siya, Visa or Mastercard or local online banking, safe and secure siya kasi lahat ng mga transactions natin are communicated using SSL technology. If you're into IT, you should know about this basically. Pero it's secure socket layer. Can I deposit using someone else's account? So hindi tayo tumatanggap ng third-party payments. Meaning, let's say kulang ng balance yung account ko ngayon. Pwede bang gamitin yung account ni Mrs. para mag-deposit sa eToro account ko? So bawal yun. Hindi tayo tumatanggap ng deposits other than from your own bank account. Again, because of AMLA considerations din to Siyempre, hindi siya mag-flag siya as AMLA kung bakit nanggagaling kay John yung pera na tinitrade ko sa eToro account ko, right? How long before the deposit reflects in my account? Normally, kung online method, kaya rin natin sinasabi mas maganda online method is instant naman siya. So normally it takes around 4 to 7 days lang. Kapag online it's instant. If wire transfer ang ginamit mo, so traditional bank to bank, it takes 4 to 7 days. So yeah, I would normally recommend, and almost everybody uses online banking as well para diretso siya. So that's for depositing. For withdrawal naman, right? So number one thing is obviously nag-deposit na ako, nag-trade na ako, nag-copy trading na ako, kumita na ako. Paano ba mag-withdraw, right? The withdrawal fee is just $5. So before it used to be 25, so medyo malaki siya before, but now it's down 80% to just $5. So fixed fee to. What that means is kung nagwi-withdraw ka, whether nagwi-withdraw ka ng ng $50, $100, $10,000, $100,000, $5 withdrawal fee lang ang kinukuha namin sa eToro. Right? So let's say you're withdrawing $1,000, babawasan natin to ng $5, ang ipapadala natin sa inyo is $995 US dollars. Where do you send withdrawals? By default, ang ginagawa natin is kung anong ginamit mo pang deposit, doon natin pinapadala lang ulit yung withdrawal mo. For example, if you use a credit debit card to deposit, pag nag-withdraw ka, ipapadala lang din natin sa credit and debit card. For example, if you use online banking, then doon lang din natin sa online banking ibabalik. Normally, when will you receive your funds? It actually depends on your withdrawal method. That's why karamihan ng kliyente natin in the Philippines, local online banking ginagamit nila. Kasi sa local online banking, mas mabilis siya. It takes about 2 to 3 days lang before, so let's say today ka nag-withdraw, 2 to 3 working days after, matatanggap mo na kagad kung local online banking. Kung credit debit card kasi minsan mas mabagal siya. Sometimes kailangan pahintayin yung yung statement date mo. So sometimes 1 month, sometimes 2 weeks, stuff like this. So normally, what I would recommend is local online banking kung meron ka. How will I know if my money has been sent? So pwede mo tong i-check real time. Kapag nag-login ka sa portfolio mo, may setting siya doon. You just go to your portfolio history and then cash flows. May kita mo kung under processing ba, pinadala na ba siya, or may approval pa ba, something like this. May kita mo naman siya. Is there a minimum amount for withdrawal? Yes, it's $30. And then, so kailangan at least $30 yung i-withdraw mo. Kasi sayang din naman kung $10 i-withdraw mo and then papawasan din natin ng $5, right? So now it's just $30. Can I cancel my withdrawal? Yes, you can, as long as hindi pa natin pinapadala. So let's say plano ko mag-withdraw ngayon, tapos 10 minutes later, ay wag na lang pala. As long as hindi pa siya napaprocess ni eToro, pwede mo siyang i-cancel. Which funds can I withdraw? It's the one in your available balance. Obviously, kung may pera ka na naka-invest na sa Facebook, hindi mo siya mawi-withdraw pa until ibenta mo muna yung Facebook. Parang ganun. So, those are just a few FAQs. Baka nasagot ko yung mga ilang tanong natin in the chat. If not, or if you have more questions, feel free to go ahead and ask. So, that's initially it. So, yeah, we can actually go through a few questions as well, if we have some. Oh, Fitz, I think you're muted. Ayun.
All right. Thank you. Ayun. So, thank you, Jeff, sa presentation mo. And yes, no, a lot of the questions that was asked sa comment section were answered by your presentation. Pero we will still discuss yung mga questions sila, no, just to repeat it and then hopefully remind them of the things that you said in the presentation.
Correct.
Yes. But for now, before we go to our question and answer, siguro we can take a 1-minute break. I would like to show everyone a video on how do you exactly trade stocks and how do you copy people sa eToro. This is just a very short video para rin makapahinga si Jeff ng konti. Ayan. Alright, so welcome back. Ayan.
Yes.
So we will now go through the questions. So, but siguro one of the things that I want to repeat sa mga sinabi mo is yung social aspect talaga ng eToro. Kasi when people ask me, ano ba yung reason bakit ako nag-sign up sa eToro? One of the things that I really like is yung social aspect niya because mahirap mag-post about mga stocks and alam mo yun, mga about finance sa Facebook, no?
Kasi halo-halo eh.
Oo. Ako, I like it. I like eToro because I can actually stock, quote-unquote, stock, yung mga magagaling na mga traders and investors. And a lot of them actually give their insights kung ano nangyayari sa market, etc. And minsan meron akong mga nakukuhan tips doon na, uy, ano pala, a lot of people are expecting na tataas ang price ng Bitcoin. So, alam mo yun, I get myself informed way ahead than the general public kasi syempre hindi naman yan lalabas sa news pag hindi pa nangyayari, di ba? Pero at least yung mga rumors, you can already start seeing it at eToro. So anyway, yun lang gusto ko lang ma-share. So let's go through the questions of people. No? So ito ay ang aga-aga tinanong kagad ni Paolo. Thank you. So good day. What are the fees that will occur such as yung overnight fees?
Fees, withdrawal, and more.
Tanong ni Paolo. In debit and credit card deposit, what will be the withdrawal process?
Yes, correct. So
of what you said kanina.
Yeah, so actually it's going to be a repeat lang a while ago. So for example, ang number one thing na kasi yung spread hindi normally natin siya kinakount as fees kasi nga nakapatong na talaga siya. At the moment na bumili ka, kasama na dun yung spread. So hindi mo na kailangan masyado pag-alalahan yun. In terms of overnight fees naman, again, the overnight fees actually karamihan sa kanya is called finance. Kumbaga you can count it as financing fees. Kasi number one, magkakaroon ka ng overnight fees kung nag-leverage ka. Leverage, essentially, in a short way to say it, kumbaga pwede mo siyang imagine as pinapahiram ka ng pera ng broker para mas malaki yung exposure mo sa market. So even if, for example, with leverage, even if $500 lang ang pera mo, ang capital mo, pwede kang mag-invest sa Facebook ng kumbaga $1,000 with times 2 leverage. Parang gano'n. So obviously, yung kalahati nun is nanggagaling sa broker. So parang financing fee yung overnight fee. Parang gano'n siya. As for how much it exactly is, depende siya sa asset na ginagamit mo. So kung nagte-trade ka ng stocks ng like Facebook or commodities like oil and gold, magkaiba yun. And also kung gaano kalaki rin yung leverage mo. Kasi for example, for stocks, pwede ka mag times 2 or times 5 leverage. For other assets naman, pwede ka up to times 100 leverage, right? So kung mas mataas leverage mo, then you can expect na mas malaki siya. So that's why it's always better for you to check it out yourself. Kung okay sa'yo, then proceed. Kung hindi siya okay, kung feeling mo masyado mataas yung fee, then you should not open the trade, right? In terms of withdrawals, yes, it's just $5. And in terms of credit and debit card deposit, so wala tayong fees for depositing. So kung let's say ginamit mo yung debit card mo, right? Nag-deposit ka sa eToro, si eToro wala tayong kinukuha doon. Kung yung $200 na nilagay mo, yun din yung $200 na may kita mo sa eToro. Although kasi nga 'di ba, i-convert kung peso yung debit card mo, mako-convert siya into US dollars. Baka may kasi bangko mo yung magko-convert hindi si eToro. So let's say BDO debit card gamit mo, si BDO yung magko-convert nun and susundin mo yung rate ni BDO. Right? So may patong, almost always naman may patong si BDO dun sa rate. So you have to be careful with that as well. So what you can actually recommend, what I can recommend is again, online banking through Dragon Pay. So kapag online banking through Dragon Pay, magbabayad ka kay Dragon Pay and then si Dragon Pay yung magko-convert. From what we've seen, so we've had Dragon Pay online banking since September of last year. Up to now, very competitive yung rates ni Dragon Pay. So almost always mas mura siya kaysa sa mga credit debit cards. So something for you to check out as well. So yeah, I think that should have covered it. Withdrawal, yes, $5.
Ako actually, I initially funded my account through credit card. And walang fees, no? Tapos nung medyo lumaki na yung kinita ko, tapos nag-withdraw ako, through the credit card ko rin siya winidraw, no? And mabilis actually.
Okay.
Well, I don't know, it was 2 years ago. I don't know now. Kasi ngayon actually ang ginagamit ko ay PayPal at saka yung online banking. So depende ko sa kung kailangan depende ko sa kung kailangan.
Right.
Yeah, but PayPal almost instant, no? Within the day nakikita ko na reflect na kagad siya. Tawag rito, sa akin, kung meron silang US dollar savings account, no? That's actually, para sa akin, the best way to...
Yes, para wala nang conversion.
Correct. Kasi meron tayong foreign exchange risk. So ito may tanong... sige.
Yes, go ahead, Fitz.
Ito may tanong si Robert Veroy, no? Pwede din bang pang long term, mape-penalty ba ng eToro or para lang sa siguro yung pag mag-hold ka.
Yes, kung mag-hold ka. Yes, correct. So actually sa you can do both. So number one, kasi 'di ba, meron tayong trading, meron tayong investing. Kung busy ka sa trabaho or let's say hindi ka lang masyado familiar with trading yet. So pwede ka muna mag-invest. So pwede ka nga rin mag-long term. Kasi nga the key thing, the main difference lang normally there is yung leverage. Kasi for example, again as I mentioned, kung bumibili ka lang naman or mag-invest ka lang naman tapos hindi ka naka-leverage, then wala siyang overnight fees. So what will happen there lang is yung spreads lang talaga yung binayad mo. So pwede mo siyang hawakan ng long term. So you can even hold it for 1 year, 2 years. So in the case of eToro, since 2007 pa kami, then you can actually have hold it for 13 years, right? Yung difference there is kapag nag-leverage ka na. Kasi kung nag-leverage ka, dun tayo magkakaroon ng overnight fees. And from the word overnight, once na yung trade mo, kinary mo past the trading day, meron kang may incur na overnight fees doon. And obviously, kung hawakan mo siya ng long term, then hindi mo gusto na pataas ng pataas yung fees mo every single day. So kung long-term ka, then I would suggest na hindi ka na lang mag-leverage. So let's say you set, let's say $1,000 na gusto mong gamitin i-invest in Facebook, then you just put $1,000 and then tanggalin mo lang yung leverage, make sure it's at leverage times 1, and then you can invest na. So ganun lang naman siya.
Yeah, ako, if they want a long-term investment, of course, what comes to mind is yung mga stocks, no? That's the best
Correct.
for long-term investments. Also, pwede din niyang i-explore yung mga indices, no? Yung mga S&P at saka yung mga ETFs kasi these are also good for long-term investing. Ako, ang favorite ko na long-term investment sa eToro specifically is yung copy trading kasi I copy people who has been very consistent sa kanilang mga performance, and I think si Olivier Danvel,
Yes.
positive pa rin, di ba? Parang 3 years
hanggang ngayon.
So
actually,
every month, positive.
actually, I can show everybody the screen if I'll try sharing my
Sige.
screen.
I'll
Just to show
talk
you
more
guys
about
okay,
Sige,
Oliver.
si
Kasi
Olivier,
yeah,
isa sa mga una kong kinopya, mga 2 years ago. And grabe, so sobrang bilib ako sa kanya. Every month, kumikita yung account
every
niya.
single, right, correct. So actually, pwede nyong i-search si Olivier Danvel and makita mo since 2017 siya sa amin sa eToro. Here, actually, nandyan yung screen niya. So since 2017, every single month, even with all of this coronavirus, positive pa rin siya. Obviously, yung ano niya, and also very, very low risk siya. 1 lang yung risk score niya. And obviously, yung returns niya is not that high kasi nga very, very low risk. Pero kung ikaw yung tipong low risk long-term investing, pwede mo siyang piliin. So like every single month. Actually, pag tinignan mo yung copy people natin, meron kang mga ibang traders. Actually, kahit mga popular traders, meron iba sa kanila nalulugi. So yeah, I just picked this guy randomly, pero you can pick anything here. Marami sa kanila kasi nga hindi rin nila masyado na-expect right? May mga downturn sila. So very transparent tayo again. Like kung lugi talaga, pinapakita namin. So yeah, someone for you to consider kung very low risk ka, si Olivier Danvel. Every single month. Actually, kahit kami sa eToro team, hinihintay namin. Kumbaga medyo dubious din kasi kung ano
ba kayo?
kasi medyo dubious din, baka isipin ng mga tao, 'di ba, na baka pinepeke nyo lang yung performance niya bakit hindi siya nalulugi, ganon. Pero yeah, hanggang ngayon wala pa din. So he's actually doing very, very well. I think he has almost 10,000 copiers.
I've been copying Olivier since 2018. So, talagang tinitingnan ko, ano bang tinitrade nito? Tsaka ano bang, kasi I would like to, copy it
Try it as well.
Try it as well on my own. Pero, grabe, I would say he's a very patient person. And it takes the time before he buys and sells something. So he's one of my favorite people to copy in eToro. And katulad yan, if you copied him in 2007, I'm sure hanggang ngayon
profit ka pa rin since 2017.
Profit sila na kumita ka na ng around 36, mga 40%.
40%, yeah.
So that's medium-term investment na yun. But kasi ako personally, pag long-term investment, mga 5 years or more. Pero that's just to show that you can do long-term investing sa eToro, particularly if you can copy people. So despite the volatility of the markets, di ba, syempre these elite traders or elite investors, they are the ones who will monitor the market for you. Again, yung yung pinakita natin kanina na Steve and Dave na ad.
So basically ganun siya. Correct.
Yes.
So actually may kita mo rin, very transparent naman tayo again, like may kita mo ilang copiers niya, how much in total yung ini-invest ng mga tao sa kanya, so over $5 million. Ano bang tinitrade nitong si Oliver, ba't ba siya magaling, right? So you'll see that 12% ng trades niya is this currency pair. So actually forex trader siya. May kita mo right now kung ano yung binibili niya. So forex trader actually si Olivier. Like you can even see yung mga past trades niya, ano ba talaga yung mga ginagawa niya. So everything is very transparent. May kita nila lahat.
Yes. All right. So let's go to the next question. Sabi ni Lemuel, I just started learning from the eToro. It sparked my interest. I'm holding a few crypto assets. So regarding sa withdrawal fees, may charges po ba aside from the $5? I am from Dubai and planning to transfer my funds via bank in the Philippines.
Okay. So in terms of your question sa withdrawal fees, may other charges ba aside from $5? On eToro side, wala na. So sa side ni eToro, $5 lang ang charge talaga natin. Meaning if you withdraw, let's say $1,000, $995 again ang ipapadala natin sa inyo. When it comes to your bank, so ang process kasi, right, is eToro, papadala namin sa banko mo, and then si banko mo na yung magpa-process para i-reflect sa account mo. It depends actually sa bank mo kung paano sila mag-charge. But for example, generally kung credit debit card, wala naman siyang. So for example, we actually accept credit debit cards from Dubai or from other countries as well, as long as pinapayagan ka ng card company mo. Kasi meron mga ibang card company na hindi nila pinapayagan na mag-transact internationally yung credit debit card. So as long as pinayagan ka ng bank mo, walang problema. In terms of kung ano naman siya, kung let's say plano mo naman kasi is mag-transfer ng funds via bank in the Philippines, normally it should be fine. Ang I guess ang pinaka risk mo lang na kailangan mong bantayan is yung exchange rate. So yun lang naman siya. Sa eToro side, kasi hindi kami nagko-convert $5 ang kinukuha namin, and then yung banko mo na yun magko-convert.
Alright. So ito may tanong si Lyra. I am new to this trading. Will you suggest her to open an account now and study, or study first before venturing to this type of investment?
So yeah, that's actually very interesting because it actually depends on yourself kung ano yung risk appetite mo. For example, what we would actually suggest sa ating mga clients is that actually kung nakita mo, yung platform ni eToro very user-friendly siya. So I'm sure, for example, si Miss Lyra, you might have an account already, a virtual account. May kita mo very beginner-friendly siya. So what that also means is marami kaming mga beginners na clients. What we would actually suggest for them is number one, to try your virtual account. If you want to try investing or trading on your own, whether gusto mag-forex or gusto mag-stocks, you can try it in the virtual account. Or even better, what you can actually try to do is sa real account mo. So for example, sa real account mo, pwede ka mag-fund and pwede ka na mag-copy trade para kumbaga, and then lipat ka sa virtual account mo para mag-practice ka doon. So in the sense, yung pera mo gumagalaw na kumbaga kapag nangopya ka ng ibang tao, and then ikaw, on the other hand, ikaw mismo natututo ka sa virtual. So parang ganoon siya. Kasi even if nag-fund ka na ng account mo, hindi naman mawawala yung virtual account nandun pa rin siya.
Yes, I would also say the same na mas maganda na sabay, no, open an account, open a practice account, and then do your studying ng kung paano ba mag-trade on your own. But to take advantage of the time, you can already fund your account with real money, and then in the meantime, just copy Olivier. Yun lang. Habang nag-aaral ka, copy mo si Olivier.
At least gumagalaw na. At least at the very, very least, natatalo mo pa nga yung inflation, right? So
yeah, so just copy people first, and then once you are confident with your own trading strategy, then that's when you can go back to your real account and trade with real money. So yun yung maganda na may practice account, at saka ang laki-laki ng $100,000. There's really a lot of room for learning, no? Kahit na magkamali ka sa umpisa, hindi mauubos kagad yan.
Yeah. And even if and actually, even if maubos mo yung 100,000, that's fine. Isang customer service ticket lang yan. Pwede naman namin i-reset since virtual lang naman siya.
Yan. So, ito, I don't know if you want to answer this. Another question, what can you say about X-Trade? They are aggressive in promotions to FB.
Actually, for my end, I've not heard of X-Trade yet. So I can't really comment too much on about them kasi hindi pa ako familiar. Pero for example, marami naman kasing mga brokerage in the space. For example, you have big ones like XM, FXCM, IC Markets, even IBKR na mostly institutional clients. So you have a bunch of brokers out there. Yung main difference there is number one, ang kailangan mong i-check is yung history or background ng broker. That's one of the most important things kasi you have like a lot of stories of small brokerages na nawawala na lang after a few years, right? I don't want to comment specifically on which broker, but that's something you might have to check. The other one is, aside from the fees, everybody looks at the fees din naman. So that's the second one. Number 3 is how user-friendly it is. So I think, especially as a beginner, ito yung I believe pinaka-importante. Almost everybody has a virtual account, so hindi lang naman kami yung may virtual, other brokers have it as well. Pero ang tanong doon is, okay, meron kang virtual account, pwede mo nga siyang aralin, pero gaano ka bilis ba talaga matuto? Right? Kasi if you compare eToro to other brokers, especially for example MT4, mataas yung learning curve na kailangan mong matutunan sa MT4 or other brokers as well. So that's one thing you might want to consider. In terms of X-Trade, hindi pa ako masyado familiar sa kanila. But I can
sa akin, actually, ako, I like eToro because Pinoy yung nakakausap ko. So although it is a global international company, may mga you, tsaka si Paul, di ba? These are Filipinos that I can easily reach out to and talk to if ever I have concerns, no? Sa akin, one of the big factors in opening
an actually, yung account management.
Yung account management. Yeah.
So actually, just to share very quickly with everybody, we've actually had a few clients, for example, with other brokers, like for example, IBKR. Kasi si IBKR or Interactive Brokers, kahit gaano kalaki yung funds mo sa account mo, wala talaga silang account managers. Kasi ang expectation kasi nila is ikaw, alam mo na kung anong ginagawa mo. So iiwan na lang kita. Right? So some clients like it. Kumbaga, wag mo na akong kulitin, right? Pero ang trade-off nun is kung kinulit mo naman ako, hindi rin kita papansinin. So that's one thing that we do value at eToro is in terms of kung may questions ka, you can reach out to us through Facebook, through our emails, through our customer service as well, and we will try our best to respond din naman.
Yeah. Actually, siguro yan yung pwedeng gawin ni Marv. So sabi niya, he's having access to account niya. So, pwede siyang kanyang i-email, tama, no? Jeff@eToro.com.
Yes, Toro.com. Yes, correct. So feel free to send me emails if ever may questions kayo. Lately, my inbox has been a bit flooded and I've also been a bit busy, pero don't worry. Normally, ang ginagawa ko is kung hindi ako mismo ang nakakapag-respond, fino-forward ko naman yung concerns ninyo to my other colleagues as well. So actually, when eToro started working with Fitz, it was just, at least for the Philippines, it was just me and Paul. Now we have three other colleagues nowadays. So kumbaga nakakatulong din naman sila. So kung hindi ka makakuha ng response sa akin, it might be from my other colleagues as well. So normally fina-forward ko rin naman kasi.
Alright, sige. Ito may tanong si Paolo, interesting. So I heard you can invest in cryptocurrencies na ×1 and ×2 lang yung leverage.
Is that true? Right.
Yeah.
Correct. So you're right, because pag tinignan mo sa platform, meron yung leverage settings natin is not the same for asset classes. So for example, for Bitcoin, tama ka. So for Bitcoin, ano siya, ×1 and ×2 leverage lang in normal conditions. Actually, right now, I'm not sure if we turned it back on already. Pero for Bitcoin, for a time, since very volatile yung markets, pinapatay natin yung yung leverage sa kanya. Now it's back.
Ngayon meron ng leverage ang Bitcoin kasi
now it's back.
Bitcoin a few weeks
ago kasi because of the halving maybe. But yeah, for example, during the time na a few weeks ago, yung bumabagsak yung oil, diba, na naging negative and everything, pinatay natin yung leverage for oil, or I believe binabaan natin yung leverage for oil. So pinapalitan natin siya depending on market conditions, but in general also kahit normal conditions, iba talaga yung leverage setting. So for example, mas mataas yung leverage settings natin for Forex. For Forex, up to 400 times yung leverage setting. For stocks, up to 5 or 10 times lang. Some stocks naman specifically, mas mababa pa. So the main reason for that, yung logic ng eToro there is yung classification ng asset mismo. Kasi for example, for Bitcoin specifically, kaya hanggang ×2 lang yung leverage natin for Bitcoin is because Bitcoin is very, very volatile. Right, so I can actually, if you actually look at Bitcoin right now, over the past I think over the past few weeks lang, it went from 8,000 all the way up to right now 9,400 plus. So very, very volatile siya. You can imagine kung mataas yung leverage mo that time, yes, pwede kang kumita ng malaki kung on the right side ka. Pero for the others that are on the wrong side, pwede kang wipe out right away within a few minutes, sometimes within a few seconds pa nga lang din. That's why for more volatile assets like Bitcoin, oil, pinababaan natin yung leverage. And then for other more stable assets na hindi madalas tumalon, like for stocks and for Forex, mas mataas yung leverage niya. So,
Is there a way for example ako, to get a list of ano yung leverage ng bawat commodities tsaka bawat stock so that I know, kasi parang gusto niya ring mag-trade
makita
na medyo mataas yung leverage.
Yes, no problem. So actually, may list naman tayo for that. Just take note again na depending on market conditions, pwede siyang magpalit. Pero I can send you a list din naman, Fitz, and I can send everybody. Just feel free to send me an email. I can give you a list of yung, for example, minimum amount to invest in certain assets, also as well as yung max leverage niya. Para at least or you can even check it on your own kasi nandun din naman siya when you
kasi to I think yung leverage nga is dynamic, hindi siya fixed.
Yes.
Depending on market conditions. Okay. So may tanong si Louie from Facebook. Nasagot na natin to kanina but we can repeat.
Yes.
So magkano yung required initial deposit sa eToro?
Our initial deposit for Asia countries and specifically for the Philippines is just $200. So for whether you're in the Philippines, in Singapore, or I don't know, Malaysia, Vietnam, it's just $200. So roughly 10,400 plus pesos. That's also the minimum to copy somebody. So kung mangopya ka ng trader, the minimum is $200. So let's say you have $1,000 na nasa balance mo sa eToro, then pwede ka mangopya ng up to 5 traders with 200 each. Parang gano'n.
But walang minimum required na deposit to open. So it's free to
yes,
open.
correct.
When you open an account, you immediately have the $100,000 practice account. And then when you are ready, yun yung
that's when correct.
Minimum initial deposit is $200, right?
Correct.
So may tanong si Hendrik. So bro, almost the same ba siya sa stock market?
So it's
the stock market.
Actually. So one of the main differences ng eToro versus PSE or the local stock market na meron. So firstly, it is actually the same in the sense that yung stock market sa PSE is in the Philippines. Yung ino-offer natin is global stock market. So you have stock markets from the US, London, Germany, France, Spain, other countries as well. So that's one main difference. And yes, it is roughly the same nga. Main difference again is saan ba nakalist yung company mo. So if you're looking to trade, for example, Jollibee, then you shouldn't go to eToro. But if you're looking for Facebook, Apple, Google, then that's where you can go to eToro. Actually, you can do both. Marami tayong clients actually na may local brokerage account to trade local stocks. And then kung gusto na nila magkaroon ng exposure in the international markets or global stock markets, dun sila pupunta sa eToro. So you can even do a comparison kung yung sa performance ng mga local stocks versus performance ng mga US or international stocks. May kita mo mas mataas yung sa US. So that's something you can consider as well.
Yeah. So ito, may tanong si Paolo, does eToro accept Philippine credit cards? Tapos in withdrawal, may I know a detailed breakdown information about the fees?
Yes. So for in terms of deposit, so yes, Philippine credit cards like Metrobank, BDO, RCBC, Union Bank, lahat sila tinatanggap natin as long as Visa or Mastercard siya. So kung meron kang something like JCB or American Express, hindi siya gagana. Hindi natin siya tinatanggap, Visa or Mastercards lang. Pero mostly naman, karamihan ng cards natin, Visa, Mastercard naman siya. In terms of withdrawal, so again, what we would normally do is by default, kung anong ginamit mo pang deposit, doon lang din natin siya babalik. In terms of the breakdown of the fees, it's just $5 from eToro side. And then kung i-convert man siya back to your Philippine peso, kumbaga exchange rate na lang siya and hindi na si eToro nagcha-charge. Actually, you don't really consider it as a charge, kumbaga cost na talaga siya. So yung sa bangko mo na yun. Sa eToro, $5 lang.
Yes. Ito, may tanong ulit si Paolo. Sa copy trading ba may overnight fees?
Yes, correct. So it's very interesting that you mentioned that kasi it depends on the trader that on your trader's trades, right? Kasi kung nag-copy trading ka, si trader mo na ang ang bahala sa trades, right? So kung kinopya ko si Olivier, when Olivier buys forex, then bumibili rin ako technically ng forex. Kung may na-incur siyang overnight fees, ako rin may incur din akong overnight fees. Right? Pero you don't have to worry kasi may breakdown naman tayo for everything. Pwede mong i-check actually. So for example, kung kinopya ko si Olivier Danvel ng $1,000, I can go into anytime I want. Pwede kong i-check yung copy ko sa kanya tapos may kita ko kung how much ba yung fees na na-charge na. Pero ano naman siya yung I would say you don't have to worry too much about this kasi the fact nga na nangongopya ka ng trader, part of it is to trust the trader as well. Kumbaga na alam niya yung ginagawa niya. Kung meron mang fees, then it's most likely part of his trading strategy na yun. Parang ganun siya.
Alright. Sige. Ito, tanong ni DJ.
Yes.
Score.
Correct.
ETF. Yan.
Correct. So tama siya. So in terms of the deposit option, most likely kung may account ka na and kung nakita mo yung deposit kasi lalabas siya as error na deposit X amount in order to open this trade, then that means either number one, kulang yung balance mo to open the trade. So baka nasa real account ka na hindi pa funded. So by default kasi minsan pag bagong gawa lang yung account mo and nasa real account ka, then you have to switch to your virtual. So I'll just show you guys very quickly what I mean. So normally kasi kapag nag-ano ka, so this is what it looks like, right? So right now I'm in Facebook. See, may kita mo na sa real account ako right now. So let's say yung binanggit ni DJ na USRT, right? When I click trade, see it says deposit kasi walang pera yung account ko eh. Right, this is a test account that I have for the Philippines. So makita mo just down there in the bottom, wala akong funds. So when I try to trade it, walang nangyayari. It says to deposit, right? So you just move to your virtual account. So just right here, makita mo very clear naman na real siya. Just click it and then switch to your virtual. May confirmation siya every time para alam mo talaga na lumilipat ka. So now here I'm in my virtual account. So you'll see that I've lost a few dollars actually from 100,000. So kung pumunta ako sa USRT, then I can invest $1,000 into it already. So just set the order. And then it's there. So buy, order, place at market. So ganun lang naman siya. I think you had another question na bakit wala siyang sell option. So it's correct. So for example, for USRT, buy lang ang pwede mong gawin. When normally, let's say sa Facebook, pwede ka mag-sell actually. So yan yung short selling na sinasabi ko kanina. Depende again siya sa assets. So for example, si USRT kasi, it might be because hindi siya sustainable na hiramin. Kasi short selling, one key factor there is hinihiram mo yung actual na stock. So for some assets or for some ETFs as well, mahal siyang hiramin. Kaya hindi siya naging worth it. Or sometimes, hindi mo talaga siya mahihiram in the actual markets. Parang ganon. So, hindi naman siya for everything. It's just for certain assets. So, it just so happens na sa USRT mismo, hindi mo siya short sell at the moment. But yeah, in terms of deposit, just make sure that you're in your virtual or just make sure that you have enough balance.
All right. Sige. That's a very interesting question, no?
I actually quite liked it.
Yeah. May tanong si Rebecca, how much is transaction cost per trade? Parang yung spread lang yata, no?
Yes, so correct. So that in terms of the transaction costs, it's mainly just the spreads. Again, if you use leverage, may overnight fees ka talaga may kita doon. Pero mostly it's just the spreads.
The spread. So kung hindi sila familiar dun sa concept ng spread, if they go to the bank, makikita nila, 'di ba? Kunwari, buying US dollar ng 50 pesos tapos selling at 50.1. Parang may difference, 'di ba?
Correct.
So ganun siya. Yun yung spread. Ito, may tanong si Romero. I have Dragon Pay, then I have BPI online. How do I fund eToro?
Okay. So it's actually quite easy. All you have to do is to click deposit funds. Log in ka lang sa eToro, obviously. Click deposit funds. And then yung by default, ang option na kasi talaga is online banking. So you just have to enter the amount that you want, let's say 15,000, 11,000, click proceed, tapos mapupunta ka sa page ni Dragon Pay, and then pwede ka na pumili doon ng bangko mo. So let's say piliin mo lang si BPI and then just follow the steps na susunod. So very very simple lang naman siya.
And it is possible kahit daw nasa abroad siya?
Yeah.
It's the same,
So
Or-
it's very interesting kasi kung nasa abroad ka, normally hindi lalabas yung online banking sometimes. Kasi ang nangyayari is that let's say yung account mo, let's say Philippine account siya, and then let's say you go to Vietnam. Pag nag-deposit funds ka doon, yung online banking mo, kasi nalalaman namin yung IP address na nasa Vietnam ka. So yung online banking na may kita mo doon becomes Vietnam online banking. So what you have to do, let's say kung abroad ka, is to use a VPN showing Philippine server. Or if you trust somebody in your family, for example, then you can have them log into your account in the Philippines, tapos sila yung pumindot. Kasi importante yung IP address mo na sa Pilipinas.
well, unfortunately hindi ko alam kung nasa si Romero, but if he has further questions, diba, pwede siyang...
Yes, you can just send me an email.
And you will assist
Yeah, I
him.
can assist naman, yeah.
So sabi ni Marv, are there currency conversion fees? Parang wala, depende sa banko yon, di ba?
Yes, correct. So hindi kami yung for all the transactions, hindi kami yung nagko-convert. Yung banko nyo yung nagko-convert.
And ito si Mark, can you tell me if I sold a certain stock or stopped copying a certain trader and made a profit, is it already tax deducted? Or am I the one who's going to file and report that to the tax bureau?
Yes, so that's a very, very interesting and important question. So firstly, on our side sa eToro, we're very clear that we're a foreign entity, meaning wala kaming eToro entity in the Philippines. So we're not obliged to report your trading activity to BIR. What that means is hindi namin siya nire-report. So the responsibility is up to you. So if you want to report it, then you should. You can always generate an account statement, and you can even ask more details from us kung kailangan mo pa. Also, if you don't want it, then obviously the risk is with you. So it's up to you to, it's up to you to report it on your own. So kami naman, hindi naman namin nire-report sa BPI na, for example, si Mark may account sa eToro, etc. Parang ganun.
Yeah, ano siya, parang it is your own personal responsibility.
Yes,
because
correct.
Each country has different tax regulations and all, and it will be too much for eToro.
Kung kami yeah.
So, well, ang maganda doon, hindi, alam mo yun, hindi tax deducted yung mga profits, tama, di ba? Kasi
Yes,
it's something that you should do on your own. Ito, interesting, is there inactivity fees?
Yes, actually there is. It only applies though kapag funded na yung account mo. So kung virtual account pa lang naman siya, obviously wala ka naman pera in the account, then wala kaming charge doon. Pero we do have inactivity fees of $10 if you don't log in within a year. So actually, all you have to do is wag mong kalimutan yung account mo. Kung alam mong may pera ka sa eToro, just remember to at least log in even once during 1 year. So yun lang naman. So if you don't log in with
open positions, even if they don't log in, will that be incur inactivity fees?
No, so actually kung may open positions ka, then that's fine. Yung inactivity lang naman is kung talagang wala kang ginagawa, yun dun lang tayo may inactivity fee. And also don't worry, ang ginagawa rin naman kasi namin is we generate almost actually automatic na siya. Nag-generate ng report yung system kung sino yung mga kumbaga wala nang galaw for the past, let's say, year or malapit na umabot ng 1 year, and then pinapadala natin ng automated email to remind you na, hey, may eToro account ka. Maybe you might want to check it out. Ganun.
Alright. Sabi ni Brit, wala bang swap sa eToro? I'm not sure kung ano ibig niya sabihin dun sa swap.
Yeah, because swaps normally it's for Forex, but I'm not too clear. Yeah, so you can send me an email for more detailed questions because I'm not too clear what it means.
So ito, mabilis ba raw mag-withdraw? Personally, mabilis. Ako from personal experience. But ano nga ulit yung usual turnaround time pag nag-withdraw ka sa eToro?
Yeah, so number one, it depends on the method na ginamit mo. So for example, for online banking, it's 2 to 3 working days. PayPal is 1 to 2. Basta mostly online channels, 2 to 3 working days siya. Kung credit or debit card siya, up to 8 working days. And it depends on your
PayPal
card
within
kasi.
1 day. Yan,
Yeah,
yan.
so actually, yeah,
Yun
minsan
lang
mabilis.
sila.
Kasi ang nangyayari lang naman, what we actually do is, kapag gumawa ka ng withdrawal request, meron tayong 1 day na internally kami mismo ina-approve natin siya. And then after 1 day, pinapadala na namin. Sometimes faster. It just depende on how much traffic that we have in terms of withdrawals. And then once na pinadala na namin siya, it depends na on your method kung gaano siya kabilis. So for mostly online methods naman talaga. Kaya for example, if it's PayPal, mabilis lang siya kasi online naman si PayPal. For credit debit cards, kaya siya umabot ng up to 8 working days kasi nga dadaan pa siya sa systems ng mga bangko. Ganun. So generally, the process itself, mabilis lang naman siya. Yung actual time frame, depende siya kung anong ginamit nyo. That's why we recommend online banking or online methods.
Para mabilis, no? Yeah. Ito, tanong ni DJ, popular investors din po ba ang nagtitrade or nagmamanage ng copy portfolios?
Okay. So in terms of copy portfolios, so these are managed by eToro themselves. And then tama ka, so meron kasi tayong market copy portfolios and partner copy portfolios. So in terms of yung rebalancing niya, kung ano yung tatanggalin, ano yung i-retain, kung sino yung idadagdag, si eToro's team yung nagma-manage sa kanya. Pero for example, for partner copy portfolio, so for the benefit of everybody, what that means is it's a copy portfolio made up of a lot of different popular investors. So you can have like a copy portfolio na 30 popular investors in one basket, kumbaga. And then obviously sila mismo yung nagtitrade on their own. Pero kung in terms of the rebalancing, si eToro yun na yung pa-manage nun.
And sa copy portfolio, ano nga ulit yung minimum amount para mag-invest sa copy portfolio?
Yeah. So for copy portfolios, ano siya? It depends on some, but most of them actually are $2,000 na lang yung minimum niya. You have some that are $5,000. So you can check it. You can actually try pag-click mo yung trade and then try to enter an amount there. Tapos lalabas yung minimum sa kanya. But for in general, for most of them, it's $2,000. For some of them, it's $5,000. Kasi ano siya eh. Kaya siya, kumbaga basket siya, kaya mas malaki yung minimum sa kanya.
Yes, oo. Ito, may case po ba na na-stop or nag-break ang isang popular investor? And what will happen to our invested funds?
Yes. So actually, it's good that you asked this kasi I think it was less than 2 weeks ago lang na meron tayo 2 popular investors na na block. Mainly kasi 'di ba in order for you to join the popular investor program, meron tayong mga rules doon kasi nga maraming nangopya sa iyo eh. So kailangan natin sila i-monitor. They have to follow certain rules. So meron tayong for example 2 popular investors na na-block, meaning block natin sila from getting new copiers because of their trading activity. So number 1 is yung isa sa kanila is masyado mataas yung risk score. As a popular investor, up to 6 lang kasi yung maximum risk score mo. Itong trader na to, umabot siya ng 8. So for him, ang ginawa namin and then the other one is nagsa-scalping siya, nag-arbitrage siya, which is against the rules of the popular investor program, kaya blinak natin siya. So for these two, ang nangyari is kung kinokopya mo na siya, let's say since 6 months ago mo siyang kinopya, hindi natin siya tinitigil. Tuloy-tuloy pa rin yung pag-copy mo sa kanya. We just block them from gaining new copiers. But for example, I think sa question mo is, what if siya mismo tumigil na siya? Right? Kung yung popular investor mo mismo tumigil na siya, then what will happen lang naman is mako-close yung yung copy. So at that time, mako-close lahat ng mga open positions mo and then ibabalik na yung capital mo plus whatever funds you make or lose. Parang gano'n.
Yeah, that's why I also recommend yung mga nagka-copy trading, once in a while, at least once a month.
Monitor it, yeah.
Sisilipin nyo. Kasi may mga nakopya ako dati na they were okay and active at first. Pero napansin ko yung isa, parang 4 months nang hindi nag-update yung profile, or wala nang So, I stopped copying that person and then I look for another one na kokopya. So, ayun, at least 1 month, at least once a month, sinisilip nyo yung mga taong kinokopya nyo. Tingnan nyo kung active yung profile nila, kung nagpo-post ba sila ng status update sa wall nila. Oo,
Correct,
kasi
correct,
kung
correct.
wala man, you can actually just
Ask
you
them
can
directly.
message,
Yeah.
di ba? Oh, you can message these people just to ask na, are you just monitoring the market, or
Or
are you still alive?
ano ba yung
Ayan.
ginagawa mo? Yes, correct, correct.
Yeah. So, part na rin ng responsibility mo is to monitor kung sino yung mga kinokopya mo. But I think it's a healthy way
Yeah,
also
to
to manage
monitor
the
as
account.
well. Correct,
So
correct.
may nagtatanong dito, no, I think mahirap sagutin to. Ano po yung meaning ng leverage? Can you
Leverage.
explain it in super simple terms in a short?
Yes, so
Yeah.
actually it's I think I can share my screen para mas madali siya maintindihan. Pero essentially leverage is basically increasing your exposure, or the broker allowing you to increase your exposure. So here's a very quick one. So right now, Facebook, let's say $1,000, right? Also let's say $1,000. So we'll just set it first at times 1 leverage para makita nyo, right? So $1,000 yung ini-invest ko, gagamitin ko pambili ng Facebook at this price, and then naka times 1 leverage ako. May kita mo yung exposure ko is exactly the same, 1,000. So 1,000 times 1 is 1,000. Ang ibig sabihin yan is yung pera ko talaga na ginagamit pang invest sa Facebook is 1,000. Kung nag times 2 leverage ako dito, may kita mo yung exposure ko becomes 2,000 na. So 1,000 times 2. Ang ibig sabihin yan is $1,000 lang ang pera ko, sarili kong pera na nilalabas, pero in the markets parang 2,000 yung ini-invest ko. Right? So saan nanggagaling yung kabilang 1,000 is coming from eToro basically. It's the same case pag times 5 mo. May kita mo yung exposure mo tumaas na. What that means is, so again, same thing. $1,000 lang actually ang nilalabas ko sa markets. Pero $5,000 yung position ko, mas malaki. So what that means is kung tumaas yung presyo ng Facebook, right? Then basically times 5 din yung profits mo. So let's say Facebook goes up by 10%, tapos naka times 5 leverage ka, you actually make 50% right away. On the other hand, if Facebook goes down by 10%, then you go down by 50% right away. So 50% kagad ng 1,000 mo, or $500, mawawala kagad, even though 10% lang talaga ginalaw ng Facebook. So what happens is naging mas sensitive yung trade mo. Kasi right, for example, kung times 1 leverage ka lang, kung 10% na galaw lang naman ng Facebook, okay lang, nadulugi lang naman ako ng 10% eh. So $100 lang naman yun. Right? Pero kung naka times 5 leverage ka, automatically biglang $500 na kagad yung running loss mo right now. Parang ganoon. So it can multiply. Basically, you can think of it as a multiplier. Kung mahilig ka maglaro ng games, you can think of it as a multiplier talaga. Right? It can multiply your gains. On the other hand, it can also multiply your losses. That's why you have to be very careful with leverage.
Yes. So I hope we were able to explain yung concept ng leverage. Ito, may tanong si Paolo. Can you have multiple accounts in eToro? Or just a single account?
Yes, correct. So you can have up to 3 personal accounts at eToro. So let's say you have one account na gusto mong gamitin just for copy trading. You can open another one for your own trading. You can open another one for example, low risk or high risk trading. Parang ganun. You can have up to 3.
Up to 3. Okay. Kasi kaya once I stop to copy trade, what will happen to the stocks in my portfolio?
So when you stop, what just happens is that it will close at the current market rate. So kung may kinokopya kang trader and then meron siyang open positions, then magko-close lang siya. So
What if
lang
ayaw
naman
kong ma-close yung mga positions? I want to stop copying someone, pero I don't want to close yung mga positions na open through that person.
Then what you can do is to pause the copy. Maybe it will be easier as well if I share and show everybody. Meron naman ako sa virtual account ko. So this is just virtual account. Don't pay attention to what the stocks here are. Binibili ko lang to when I'm in demos like this. But for example, see, you have a bunch of traders here that I'm copying. So for example, right, this trader, I can actually see na under him binili ko yung Microsoft. For this trader, under him, these are the ones that I bought. Right? Kung stinap ko yung copy sa kanya, just click the settings and then I can stop copying. Automatic na all copied positions will be closed. Meaning lahat to, i-close na kagad right away. But if ang gusto ko lang is hindi na siya ayoko na siyang kopyahin, pero itong mga to ayoko pang i-close right now, then I can actually just pause the copy. So once you pause copying, new trades will not be opened. So pwede kong i-pause and then lahat to tatakbo pa rin, same as normal. Pero lahat ng mga bago niya nang bibilihin, hindi ko na bibilihin. So yun yung pause copy. So you'll see
And
na
then you can
naka-pause siya.
and then you can manage on your own yung mga
Yes.
positions na yun kung kailan mo gustong i-close.
Yes, correct. So, so tama ka, Fitz, because that's actually what you can do. So, for example, right? Again, ito yung mga positions niya. If hindi ko na to gusto, baka iniisip ko, ito kumita na ako ng $10 dyan, or ito $44 na, bakit hindi niya pa rin binebenta? I can actually click it and close it myself. So, pwede kong I should be able to. So here, I just have to close each one, right? So, pwede ko na siyang i-close by myself. So right now, hindi pa siya mako-close kasi sarado yung market, Sabado ngayon. But once the market opens, magko-close na siya. So you can actually do it on your own. Kasi kung tingin mong, ang tagal na, sayang naman, $44, pwede ko na tong kitain. Then pwede mong do it on your own as well. Yun yung flexibility niya.
Hindi ka nakatali dun sa activity. No? You can choose when to copy and when to do it. You have full control over your account.
I can even take money out of him as well. So like for example, may 11,910 ako. I can actually remove funds, and then I can choose how much, which is loading a little bit, but I can choose how much funds that I want to take out from him. So that's something that you can do as well. Baka internet connection ko.
So ito si Paolo, may tanong. Do inactivity fees apply if I am not active for 2 days, 1 week, or 1 month?
So inactivity fees apply for 1 year lang naman. Hindi naman siya for that long.
So may comment si Lyra, no, medyo malaki po pala ang minimum investment. Well, copy trading $200.
$200, correct. So, it's just $200.
I don't think that's a big amount. But personally, if medyo mabigat sa inyo yung $200, then I would say na you can just focus on your practice account and alam mo yun, save up for the $200 so a few months afterwards, then you can do it.
Correct.
And of course, if you're still hindi pa medyo natatakot ka pa na i-risk yung $200, you can always copy yung mga low-risk traders, no, that are sa among the popular investors. And yun nga, personal, ko lang to, personal opinion, si Olivier, a good person to copy. So hindi to official financial advice, but this is from my personal experience. I've had good results kay Olivier, no? So ito, sabi ni Dino, ni DV Byrne, sir, if you stop copy trading, will the gain or loss be automatically realized?
Yes, correct. So when I stop copy, automatic na makukuha ko na kagad siya. So if I can show my screen again just very quickly, you'll see here that for the traders that I'm copying right now, let's say si Lloyd Bazaar, I have 200 with him. And then right now yung value na is 212. For J Nemesis, I have 200 with him. It's now 201, for example. Kung sinap ko na yung copy, kung sinap ko na yung copy, then ito yung babalik sa akin, 212. So automatic na mapupunta siya from right now, from here to my available balance. Since malaki yung number, you might not pay attention to it too much, baka hindi mo siya masyado makita. Pero yun yung babalik na amount sa akin. So ganun lang naman siya.
So i-share mo siya ulit. Kasi I think some people are getting confused sa copy people.
Yes, correct. Kung how much yung minimum.
So sa copy people, dito, $200 lang.
Yes, correct. So I can just pick anybody here. So kung gusto mo silang kopyahin, pindutin mo lang yon. So by default kasi pumipili siya ng automatic since nasa virtual ako. Pero it's just minimum is 200.
So, meron kasing na-mention tayo kanina na 2,000 to 5,000. That is copy portfolio. So, show us yung copy portfolio.
Sure. So, this one is, again, kung nangopya ka ng isang tao lang. So, right here is copy portfolios. So, ito yung sinasabi natin na basket of traders. So, see, for example, you just pick this one, Gainers Quarter. May kita mo yung allocation niya is made up of a lot of different traders. See? So, kasi ang tanong dyan is, di ba, sino ba talaga ang okay na kopyahin? Then you can just invest in this portfolio na isang buong, kumbaga, basket siya of a lot of traders na. So you can choose to copy just one of them. For example, ito.
$200
Again,
lang
yes,
pag
again,
isang tao.
$200 lang, right?
Oo.
But if I want to invest in this whole portfolio
them.
itself, yes, so yung minimum sa kanya is 5,000.
500. Oo.
Yes, correct. So, pag gusto mo naman isa-isa, then 200 lang. Pero pag itong buo, 5,000. Kasi nga, ano siya madami na siyang investors eh. Kung 200 dito, then sobrang liit na yung malalagay sa kanila each one. Parang
Yes,
ganun.
oo. So, $200 lang to copy one person. Tas if you want to copy a group of person, depende
Then
na kung
it's not.
anong depende na
Yes,
sa
kung
copy.
anong pinili mo. Correct.
Yan. Right. So, siguro ito, last question siguro. Can I fund my virtual to real account? Parang,
So you can't fund
Parang
your
hindi
virtual
pwede.
account. Ano siya? So virtual account siya. Kung naubos mo siya, okay lang. You can have it reset. Just send us an email
Request lang,
or
no?
just go to our customer service. Kung gusto mo na mag-fund, lipat ka lang sa real account mo and then dun ka mag-deposit. So pag nag-deposit ka, hindi mo siya makita sa virtual. Sa real account mo siya makita.
Ito, last question na. Nasa Qatar daw siya. What can you advise since I'm here? Do you use my
Okay.
Qatar account or my account in the Philippines?
Actually, it depends on you. The number one thing I would suggest is in terms of proof of address. Kung meron kang proof of address in Qatar, then you can actually just open it there. Kung let's say meron kang employment contract or let's say utility bill, residence bill in Qatar, then you can just open it in Qatar. Mas mas less hassle siya. The minimum to deposit if you want to start trading din naman is just $200. Same as Philippine accounts lang din naman. Pero kung wala kang proof of address in Qatar, for example, then you can use a VPN to open an account in the Philippines. Parang ganun.
So, what if nag-open siya using the Qatar account and Qatar address and then bigla siyang
Lilipat.
uuwi na siya ng
Yes,
Pilipinas,
uuwi na.
no? Nakapag-ipon na siya. So,
Yes.
it's also an easy process to have your account updated sa inyo.
So walang problema doon. So for example, if gusto mo nang bumalik, let's say nasa Qatar ka, uuwi ka na ng Pilipinas for good, then you just have to create a ticket with our customer service, tapos i-attach mo lang yung yung Philippine proof of address mo, showing na nandito ka na talaga sa Pilipinas, bumalik ka na sa Pilipinas, and then ipaprocess lang din naman namin yun. Mabilis na naman siya, no problem. In terms of if you're curious about yung withdrawal and everything, so for example, kung bumalik ka na sa Pilipinas for good, sinara mo na yung bank account mo sa Qatar, then you can just let our customer service know as well. Sabihin mo lang na wala na ako sa Qatar, here's proof na sinara ko na yung bank account ko sa Qatar. Please use this Philippine bank account instead. So mabilis na naman siya, no problems.
All right. So I guess that's our last question kasi grabe 1 hour and 42
1 hour
minutes
42 minutes na tayo.
So I'd like to thank everyone for watching and tuning in. So of course, if you have other questions, may bigla kayo naisip, you can always just email me or email Jeff. So I'll show your email address again, Jeff. No? Yeah, si jeffgo@etoro.com. So with that, I'd like to thank everyone for tuning in. Kung may na-miss kayo na part nitong live stream, of course, you can just wait for a few minutes and then yung recorded replay will be available both sa YouTube at saka sa Facebook page natin. So, just siguro, from my experience, after around 30 minutes, pwede mo na ulit panoorin yung buong video. No? But of course, I will also edit this video and then upload yung snippets nung presentation ni Jeff kanina and some of the interesting questions that was asked para mas madaling ma-review, no? Kasi syempre, we don't want people watching the whole 2 hours.
1
hour.
Parang nanood ka na ng movie.
Yeah. So, of course, to end, I'd like to thank Jeff dito sa oras na binigay niya sa atin. And dapat may market outlook pa si Jeff, no? So siguro one of these days that
right,
no,
we can cover it as well.
Of course, definitely we will be doing this again. Probably we'll discuss a little bit more about yung copy trading,
strategies,
no?
Correct.
And strategies. And of course, I would like to invite everyone to open an account with eToro. You can scan the QR code na nakikita nyo sa screen. Pwede nyong i-screenshot yung screen nyo ngayon tapos mamaya nyo gamitin for your QR reader kung nasa phone kayo nanonood. But of course, kung nasa laptop kayo nanonood, you can just scan it with your phone. And of course, kung ayaw nyo gamitin yung QR code, you can simply just go to our URL, which is yung bit.ly/ open eToro 100. So that's our special link that we're using for this episode para makakuha nyo yung $100,000 na free practice account. Okay.
I would also suggest just one last thing. I would suggest also to use this link to open versus just going to Google and typing eToro there. Kasi the good thing with using this link is alam ko eventually na galing kayo sa webinar na to. Meaning if you have questions for me, pag nag-email ka sa akin, I can identify na yung account mo galing dito sa sa session natin. So I can help you better.
Yes, all right. So with that, thank you, Jeff.
And thank you very much, everybody.
Everyone. So do you have any final words sa mga nanonood sa atin?
So yeah, just my final words for everybody is to open the virtual account, test it out. So again, you don't have to fund it right away kung hindi ka pa sure. Open the virtual account, play around with it. From our own experience, normally it takes our clients anywhere between 1 week to 10 days to test it out if it's for you. If you don't like it, then nothing is lost. Libre naman siya. If you like it, then you can continue using it until you're ready to fund your account. So free naman siya. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me over email. Again, kung hindi ko siya kayang sagutin or kung busy naman ako, hindi ko siya maabutan, ifo-forward ko naman siya sa team natin. May Pilipino pa rin naman natutulong sa inyo.
Yes, all right. So, sa mga nanonood ngayon, I don't know kung aware kayo, next week there will be the Financial Fitness Forum. And usually kasi nagla-live stream ako ng Saturday or Sunday. So, but I will be busy sa Financial Fitness Forum next week. So, wala tayong live stream next Saturday. But if you want to attend the Financial Fitness Forum, then you can send me an email and I will give you a surprise. Ayan. So, secret na lang muna yung surprise. Kasi ayoko i-announce publicly na meron akong complimentary tickets. Pero sige na nga, in-announce ko dito. But they would have to email me and contact me. Yeah? So, I guess that's it. And again, thank you sa mga nanood. Maraming salamat sa lahat ng mga nagtanong at saka of course, participate dito. So, with that, I'd like to say goodbye. Stay healthy, stay safe, and see you again soon. Okay, bye-bye,
Jeff. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Steve and Dave use eToro to invest in the financial markets. Steve does research on global investment opportunities. Dave does research on how to become a level 60 wizard. Steve follows the feed for the latest market news. Dave follows the feed for the latest cat videos. Steve has a watch list for promising investments. Dave has a watch list too. So why is Dave just as good an investor as Steve? It's because Dave used eToro's copy trader to automatically replicate Steve's trading activity. Whenever Steve makes a trade, Dave does too. Yes. Trade like a Steve with eToro, the world's leading social trading platform.
You are patient. Deep down, you know that success takes time. Just imagine Da Vinci trying to paint the Mona Lisa in a week. Or Bill Gates developing Windows in a month. So, take this approach to the financial markets and join eToro. Get the tools to execute smarter, more informed investment decisions. Build a portfolio to last, one brick at a time. Start now at eToro.com.